I've made over 1,200 videos and listened to hundreds of products, cheap ones, expensive ones, and I get asked in the comments all of the time,
we would like your expert opinion as to which one is the best.
Which one is the best? And here's what nobody wants to admit. We're asking the wrong questions, and I'm gonna tell you why. For decades, we've been chasing this elusive mirage. Specs, graphs, power ratings. This is the uncomfortable truth about perfect sound, because it's not enough. Because to really understand this, we have to talk about motorcycles, cars, psychology, pigs, chickens, and maybe a little bit of hi-fi.
Look! There's a rhythmic ceremonial ritual coming up.
Over the last 20 years, something has happened to music playback. The playback ritual disappeared. The friction of playing music disappeared. The tactile nature of interacting with the gear that plays music disappeared. And worst of all, everything became a black box. One boring black box replacing another boring black box with two different logos on them makes me sad. But here's the good news. We don't have to be mindless automatons buying products based on numbers and boxes. Because most of us probably don't even understand the specifications we're looking at anyway. And the great news is there are companies out there that understand all of these different psychological things and how it plays into enjoying the music. Not only do they sound great, but they're also keying into a little bit of psychology. Huge thank you to today's sponsor, Ugreen, for sending over the NAS DH2300. Basically, it's your own personal private cloud at home. If you don't know, a NAS is a network-attached storage device. And when it's hooked up to your internet network, you can access it from anywhere. Instead of, paying every month for an iCloud or Google Drive. It's super easy. You buy it once and you just pop in some hard drives. All your files, photos, movies live safely at your own home instead of some server farm somewhere. For me, the Ugreen NAS DH2300 is a game changer because I can upload B-roll and my wonderful channel manager can access them, even though she lives thousands of miles away. And this thing can hold up to 60 terabytes of storage. It's around 40,000 movies or 20 million photos, and it works with just about anybody's hard drive brands. Setup is super easy. You slide the trays in, follow the on-screen steps, tap your phone with NFC, and boom, you're done. If I can do it, anyone can do it. There's also a built-in video center, so you can stream your 4K movies from your laptop, from your TV, from your mobile phone. And it supports online subtitle playback, search, and downloads. And it also has an AI photo manager, which means if you're looking for a picture of your dog, you just type in dog. The best part is, your stuff is yours. No monthly fees, no creepy data mining, and let's face it, you want to back up your important files, your photos, and not have to worry about whether your computer dies. So check out the link in the description and get 20% off your Ugreen NAS DH2300 from their huge Black Friday event from November 20th to December 1st. Thank you, Ugreen, for sponsoring today's video. Here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. If everybody bought on specs and you were going to buy a supercar, you would buy a Corvette and not a Ferrari. Because on paper, a Corvette is actually better than a Ferrari. It's cheaper. It performs better, corners better. Better. The Corvette would have a better signal-to-noise ratio if it was an amplifier than the Ferrari amplifier. But park the Corvette by the Ferrari side by side and only one is really gonna gather a crowd. Why? Because I'm emotional! Most humans don't buy based on spec sheets. They buy based on emotion and maybe even the story behind a brand. Audio works the same way. You could have a DAC that measures perfectly, an amplify with superior specifications, but none of that matters when somebody sees a glowing tube amp and says, I want to buy the dangerous amplifier. Yeah, that one, the fire hazard. And don't get me started on Macintosh, because keyboard warriors out there on forums always say, The Macintosh isn't very good. You can get something that's a lot cheaper that has better specifications. Why would anybody buy a Macintosh? Well, the same people that are saying that are the same people that say you should buy a Corvette or that Harley-Davidson doesn't make enough horsepower. If you're saying those things about a brand, then you really don't understand what that brand is actually about. Ferraris trigger our lizard brain before the engine ever starts. Curves, red stuff. Hi-Fi does it too with VU meters, glowing tubes, analog knobs, brushed aluminium. And here's the crazy thing. If something looks special and you have an emotional tie to it, it sounds better. Or at the very least, the experience you have with it is better. If something looks special, you hear it differently. And that's not delusional, that's neuroscience. Nobody buys a Ferrari because it's a good value. Nobody buys a tube amp because they want efficiency. Perfect sound is great, but if everybody actually wanted perfect sound, then they would buy the discount value $500 amplifier that measures perfectly. But they don't. Rituals make music feel bigger, even if it's just subconsciously. Neuroscientist Dr. Ethan Krauss says rituals give people a sense of control, and that sense of control reduces stress and increases enjoyment. And a UCLA researcher, Alex Korb, says anticipation is a powerful dopamine trigger. The rituals that build anticipation strengthen the emotional impact of the reward. So what does that mean in English? It means humans attach value to things that have a purpose and a system. Pouring the coffee, lighting the candle, drawing your bubble bath, picking out the record, lowering the needle like some type of ancient ceremony, getting the dials all tuned in just perfectly, waiting for your tube amp to warm up. These little steps actually change your brain. Ritual builds anticipation. Anticipation triggers dopamine. And dopamine makes the emotional connection stronger. And guess what else has something to do with audio enjoyment? Touching things.
Don't touch me.
Neuroscientist David Linden says, touch is not a single sense, it's a complex, emotionally rich system that shapes how we experience the world. And psychologist Dr. Charles Spence adds, the more sensory pathways involved in an experience, the more memorable and engaging it is. And of course we need a biological anthropologist to weigh in on this issue. And luckily we have Dr. Helen Fisher. Puts it plainly, touch activates reward pathways in the brain more powerfully than visual or audio cues by themselves. So what does that mean for audio? Well, we need to touch things to make it better. Every time you turn a knob, press a button, slide a fader, you're activating multiple sensory systems. Touch, sight, sound, they all increase the emotional response of listening to music. Analog interfaces demand attention, they demand involvement, and they pull more of your brain into the activity. And more engagement equals more enjoyment. But modern gear has removed almost all of that. Apps, touchscreens. They've replaced knobs and buttons. So convenience is nice, but the less that we touch something, the less immersive the experience becomes.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful objects make the experience better. This is my Triumph motorcycle, and I blame Cambridge Audio because I went there a couple of weeks ago and I ended up touring the Triumph motorcycle factory in my spare time, and now I bought a Triumph motorcycle. She's gorgeous, and if I told you that it's from 1964, you'd probably believe me. But it's packed with a bunch of tech like ABS, not IBS, which is something completely different. It has ride modes, it has fuel injection. It looks old, but it's actually new. And that is the theme behind products that I think will crush it. Not only with motorcycles, but with audio. This Triumph is limited edition. It's the Elvis version. And it even came with a Triumph record. A vinyl record. So of course I felt like this was a sign from the universe that I needed to buy it. And guess what I do? I go into the garage at night and just look at it. Is that sad? Maybe. but I don't care. Because to me, this isn't just about transportation or even just about a motorcycle. It's something that could be put up on a pedestal in a really cool vintage coffee shop and nobody would bat an eye because it looks like it belongs there. It's a piece of history. It's sexy. It's timeless. And it instantly causes emotion. And here's the psychology. Beautiful objects actually change how we perceive performance. It's expectation bias, but it's still true. That's why vintage receivers feel so special. The design, the wood, the brushed aluminum, all of it is the experience. So, sound does matter, but so do looks. One of my favorite jokes, and I think one that beautifully illustrates the content of this video, is about breakfast. It's about a chicken and a pig. The chicken is involved with breakfast, while the pig is committed to breakfast. Luckily for us, we don't have to be nearly as committed as the pig was to breakfast when it comes to us enjoying music. But the principle still holds. The more that we are involved with the process, the more that we enjoy it, even if we don't realize it. And to me, the future of hi-fi looks a lot like the past. What do I mean by that? VU meters, tactile controls, beautiful pieces of equipment. And modern hi-fi needs to do more than just sound great. It's got to look great. It's got to be great to interact with. And I think some companies are understanding that. The Advanced Paris A10 Classic. I mean, look at it. The Ruark R610. Beautiful design, but more importantly, a very interesting way to interact with the equipment. The Gishelli Labs DAX. Old school tactile buttons, crazy see-through acrylic design. The Cambridge Audio Evo series, beautiful to look at, and it's designed differently. Really nice knurled knobs. These products and these companies all understand that it's more than just the sound, because design plus sound plus interaction equals emotion. And at that point, the equipment isn't nearly as replaceable. Let's take a bit of a closer look at Ruark. They're a small British company, not a conglomerate. That's the important thing, and there's a story behind the brand. It's not a faceless mega brand available on the shelves of your local big box electronics store. It's a smaller company that is willing to take risks with their products. I mean, they sell clock radios, and they're very successful selling clock radios. But it's unlike any clock radio you've probably ever looked at. Even their antennas, the old school telescoping ones that I would use when I was growing up as a weapon to hit my brother. But it's not just about being able to use parts of the Ruark as a weapon in the face of a global apocalypse. Because they mix old school craftsmanship from the wood, the grill materials, with modern conveniences like Bluetooth, like streaming, like HDMI. And they're not chasing perfect specs, they're chasing perfect involvement. It's about how the product makes you feel when you walk past it and it's not even operating. And in a world of black boxes, Ruark stands on their own, saying, hey, maybe your stereo shouldn't be ugly. Remember the Triumph motorcycle? Yeah, how a product looks directly impacts how much we enjoy using it. Sound and design are intertwined. We can't divorce the two because when we're sitting in front of a Ruark or in front of an Advanced Paris A10 Classic, it's an experience. Yes, it's about the sound, but it's also about how something looks. And the experience is the sum of the parts. We think we want better sound, but what we really want is a better experience. The takeaway is when something looks beautiful, the emotional experience with it is strengthened. You want to use it more often. And when it comes to using a product, well, Ruark really nailed this one. The Advanced Paris A10 Classic, for me, is really almost the ultimate in music enjoyment because of the way it looks. Now, if there were more tactile controls on the Advanced Paris A10 Classic, then it would be absolute perfection. But Ruark has taken this kind of old school interaction and combined it with new school technology, and it's a trip. Their remote control is unorthodox. It's crazy to look at. It looks like a little mini UFO, and it is addictive to use. Even a remote control, by definition, kind of reduces the involvement that we have with the product. Unless it's this remote. Rotary dial, multiple buttons, and a truly novel way to control a piece of electronics. And it's not just a rehash of buttons, toggles, and dials. It's something completely new. But the psychology, still the same. So here's the real truth that we've been circling this whole time. Perfect sound isn't enough. Perfect measurements don't create memories. Perfect interactions do. If somebody that's not an audiophile compliments how your equipment looks, that's probably a good sign. Sound does matter, but the experience matters more. The touch, the design, the ritual, the little moment when you go outside into the garage and look at your motorcycle, or when you glance back at your hi-fi system, even when it's not playing, having your equipment on, even when you're not using it. It's like walking around in the Blade Runner universe. Lots of neon signs, lots of things to look at. And these are the concepts that the companies that I think are going to do really well in the future are leaning into. Advanced Paris didn't try to reinvent audio. They took things that are beautiful, combined them with new technology, and sold them at reasonable prices. Ruark took things way further, because not only is their stuff cool to look at, but it's not just a throwback to vintage style. I think it was inspired by vintage style, but it was also inspired by a novel way to interact with the product, a unique experience with tactile integration. And they can do this because they're an independent company. They can take risks. They can be bold. But if sound was truly the only thing that mattered, with all of these super affordable imported amplifiers coming in, everybody would be using them. But it's not just about the sound. It's about the difference between a Corvette and a Ferrari. It's about a pig and a chicken and breakfast. It's like a motorcycle that looks like it's from the 1960s, but luckily there's a wiring harness from 2025 in there and a warranty. So what is your favorite product out there? What is your story with beauty, with interaction? What is your favorite piece of equipment? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a black box is all you need. Maybe it's all about the sound. Please put it in the comments. What percentage of importance do you put on a product's looks, a product's heritage, the brand? What are the intangibles? Even though sound is an intangible too. If you like this video, check out my video about 20 crazy facts about CDs. I'll put it right up here. Also put up the history of Marantz right here. You should check it out. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're not, and maybe send this to a friend that you think might enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching.